Hey, hello everyone. So I'm going to do a bit more training today. Today I'm going to do some of my Achilles Rehab training, and I'm at Gymnation, just near London Bridge. Oh man, there's a tree in the way of the Shard. I was going to show you the Shard. London Bridge, Gymnation. But there we go, can't quite see it. So my Achilles Rehab is because back in 2021 I snapped my Achilles. J'ai cassé mes tendons. Or whatever it is. And since then, I mean, it healed up really nicely. I went through the sort of like boot process, didn't have to have an operation, which is good, but the muscle obviously wastes away. So in the years sort of like following that, it's been rounds of kind of getting it strong again. So today I'm just going to work through a little bit of that. I thought I'd show you. Okay, here we go. So this is the first piece of kit that I'm going to use. I think it's just a calf raise machine. But what it's going to let me do is isolate the soleus, which is this nice long muscle that runs up the back of my calf. And I'm not going to use any weight, but I am going to go for a single leg exercise. So I'm letting it stretch out. And now these are exercises that were given me by my coach, Matt Shaw, a brilliant strength trainer, brilliant good friend of mine. And he's told me that I have to really focus on engaging in the lower part, like right down where the Achilles sort of meets the muscle. So that's what I'm really focusing on here and getting nice, quick, fast activation. I'm also focusing on keeping my big toe really nicely engaged into the piece of kit because my foot has this tendency to kind of go out to the side. 13, 14, and 15. I think that was 15. I'm not completely sure. But yeah, to really get sort of like activating through exactly the muscles that I want to be working, because as I said, they obviously sort of all went to sleep. And it's been a really interesting process because even though I've obviously done quite a bit of work to wake it all back up, they sort of wake up in like sections. So like this whole side has woken up a lot more than the inside. So now I'm having to do work to really kind of really get this part to get involved in the whole action, which is really curious. I feel like I've learned an awful lot just about how my leg works generally since I've been doing this. Okay, so going on to my third set now, I did a second set where I added 2 kilos. So I put 1.5 on now. So we're up to 3 whole kilograms in total. So again, I'm letting that stretch come in, powerful and fast. Now, it's incredible how much work, even just that small amount, is for my calf. And even with the amount of work I've done on it since I recovered, well, it's been like 2 years, right? So I've done a lot of work on it, but even this is a big challenge. It's 10, let's do 5 more. Oh, yeah, so really hard. But I was very excited when Matt put this program together for me because it was so hard. Just doing the other leg to kind of keep things balanced. It's not as anywhere near as much of a challenge as you can see. But perhaps that's actually quite a good example of actually even, it was July 2021, and now it's March 2025. Of still how imbalanced the strength is. Now I've been able to do tons of stuff, gymnastics, I can run all over the place, there's absolutely no problem. But I decided I wanted it to get it right back to being really powerful, really strong again. But it's amazing how you can spend, so I was 24 when the Achilles snapped. So 24 years of building up that leg, and then it went in 6, 9 weeks, 12 weeks, something like that. And even with all the work I've done up to this stage, it's still so far behind this one. But very curious because it's different to this one. And I'll talk about that more as we keep going. Okay, so I'm in a different part of the gym now. I'm going to move on to my second exercise. But I was thinking about what I was saying to you just now about how this leg is now different to this leg for the Achilles rupture and the specific rehab that I've done. I wanted to put in a little clip here of some gymnastics that I've been able to do. I was actually doing this like a year ago, so before I'd even done any of this gymnastics. So I'll put that in now. So yeah, so I was able to do all of that even before any of this rehab that I've done now. So it's not like I was not able, but I really wanted to balance out my body because I'd been having stuff all down my, my left hand side. I think due to compensation throughout last year, which I've sort of righted, and it feels really good now. But it was ultimately coming from the strength imbalance, so I decided I really wanted to address this thing at the core. So the next exercise which I've been working on is these sort of like tiptoe walks, and actually being able to keep my foot in this position, sort of pointed, is really, really challenging with the strength imbalance. And I'll put in a couple of videos of where I was when I first set up my program with Matt back in January, and where it is now today. So I'll put in that video now. And now I'm going to crack on. I'm going to do my exercise. I'm going to show you that part. Okay, here we go. So this should be pretty good fun, because hopefully if I've got the camera angle set up right, you should be able to see the kind of difference that's going on between those two muscles. So all I have to do is walk up and down. I'm supposed to do a period of time, but I've not got really a way of measuring at the moment. So I'm just going to go up and down here 5 times. But what's actually really developed, as you can see probably from the last time, I'm much more able to keep tall on the foot. But this end range was super, super challenging. It would be like dropping like this a couple of months ago. And it's interesting because I also found it hard through my hip and my knee to do it. But one of the things that Matt said to me was that I had to imagine it's easy. It's super easy. I'm relaxed, I'm easy. My calf is strong. So whilst I'm doing this, it's not just doing the exercise, I'm also visualizing, imagining, and understanding my calf to be healed, healthy, and strong. And I really, really liked that. It made me feel so much taller and like more able to move right off the bat. And even in this moment right now, at this point a few weeks ago, I'd have been getting fatigued, but I feel strong. I still feel able to press through the calf. So it's really good. It's getting better. Okay, just had a nice conversation with someone in the gym, but we're going to move on and do my 3rd set. Now, what I wanted to talk about in this one a little bit more is what I'm sort of thinking about whilst I do this. So again, I'm engaging this part of my leg, which is sort of the same target area that Matt was getting me to look at in the previous exercise. Something I noticed, I was sort of seizing up this whole side of my body, so I'm trying to relax that out. So that's nice and fluid. And I want length through this whole leg, high as I can possibly be. And also for this exercise, it's kind of hard to see from where you are, but I'm keeping my steps quite short. So if I do it like this way, so that I can really focus on keeping high up on my toes. And the thing that was also interesting about this is I started putting thought, effort, and work into pushing through my foot, like my actual foot beyond just my calf, but the whole thing reaching, extending down into the floor. And the whole while, I'm also drawing into my core, using my glutes and my hamstrings, just building a really nice tall structure. And it's a ton of work in the calf. Like the calf is very much where I feel it, but I'm sort of like creating this whole situation where the calf has to do the work relative to everything else that's going on. But yeah, I thought that, I wonder if I can be seen. I thought that might be helpful for you to know what I'm doing in case you are also doing some work on your previously snapped Achilles. Okay, so the next thing that we've worked on is just literally on my big toe. So I have to pull my big toe up like this and then press it back to the floor, working really hard against this band. Now the idea with this is that the whole sort of foot action, the whole chain begins here in this big toe, and that we thought it would be really, really good to kind of get in there and get it doing some work, as well as the muscles further up the chain. And I can really feel it actually kind of right in the belly of my calf when I do this. So there's obviously a whole kind of connectivity thing going on. And I do a little bit on the other foot just to keep it sort of, balanced. All those good training things. But this is also an area where something really interesting has gone on in this foot. Since I had the snapped Achilles, I've ended up with a much more pronounced arch in this foot than I have in this foot. And this one sort of like will point more. It's actually a lot more articulate than this foot, which didn't have the injury, which is super interesting, I think. The way it moves. It's just kind of different now. But I presume that that's literally just because all of the muscles went to sleep, including all of the muscles in the foot, which is part of what we were sort of thinking about. So we've got that sort of nice point in this one, and it's a lot more pointy than this one used to be. Which I don't mind, because it makes my sort of skills look nicer. And it's been a really interesting thing of the rehab process, where even though this leg was injured, I've actually learnt things that I didn't have in it before, or gained things that I didn't have in it before. And in the process of learning to walk on it again and rehabbing this whole leg, I've noticed where there have been inefficiencies or things that weren't working so well in the other leg that I've wanted to kind of transfer over. So to have actually sort of better glute activation, better hamstring activation, using my posterior chain just like so much more in both legs generally has been a really big thing. My balance has improved. My actual dynamic capabilities have improved, even with having had the Achilles snapped. And it's not because like, what do I want to say? It's because of the investigation that I went on, thanks to the Achilles having been snapped. So I've gone and looked at things which I wouldn't have looked at before. And I also feel that my level of intuition of what's going on in my body and understanding the balance and the imbalance has just heightened enormously in that time. Obviously also grown up a whole lot more. I've done a lot more training, I've got a lot more experience, but it is super, super interesting. So I've got that little sort of toe exercise, and now I've just got, I know what the next exercise is. I just realized that I'm wearing exactly the same clothes that I was wearing when I made my last YouTube video. I do promise you I have other clothes. Okay, so the next exercise is a bent leg, single leg calf raise. So I have to bring the leg down to here, and then I'm just going for calf raises. And again, it's squeezing in that sort of deep soleus part of the calf and getting that to really, really work. And in this moment, I'm thinking about bringing my big toe in and also letting my whole body be connected, move my whole body up and down. Oh, it feels good and powerful today, actually. Balance up on the other side. Yeah, definitely. There's sort of like the strength and activation thing. But there's this other weird thing about actually just having dexterity, like being able to be articulate through the foot. That's something which has really, really come back since I've been doing this work, which Matt set me. Just my ability to actually even feel the floor under the foot and to be able to express force into it has got so much more dexterous, and it feels so much nicer. I can't describe it. Like, rehabbing this snapped Achilles was some of the hardest work I've done in the gym, and I've trained at international gymnastics level, so that's saying something. This was really, really hard work, and it's like pushing into a dark room because you just can't see anything, and the idea that you could get the calf to go higher is like, I don't know how I'm possibly going to get this thing to work higher, and it was really tough work, but I mean, you just do it centimeter by centimeter. And this particular last round of work has made me, it's like turned on so many lights in that dark room, and it feels so much more like a part of my body which I have access to, which I can be powerful and expressive through. And I've had a really good period of training recently. So whether it's psychological or, the balance coming back into my body, it feels really, really good. And so it's cool to be sharing these exercises with you. Okay, so this is the last bit on the agenda of what Matt set me to do, and it is literally just plyometric jumps. So, tell you what, I'm going to hold on to that thing so that you haven't got me bouncing around. It's quite fun doing this because obviously I did a load of gymnastics when I was younger. A load of gymnastics is perhaps a bit of an understatement. But what I'm thinking about in this moment, I'm actually just bringing everything back in, contracting still in the same place in the back of my heel, but I'm actually trying to keep balanced so that I don't end up leaning over here. I'm strong through the middle and making sure this leg is doing the work that it's supposed to do. And then keeping nice and high, and I've actually got my feet like slightly in front of myself, and that lets me keep the bounce going really nice and directly upwards, and really nice and pingy as well. And I have no idea how many of these I've done, but we'll finish there. That was good. Okay, and that is pretty much all of my Achilles Rehab circuit that Matt set me to do. I've got 2 more sets of that to do, which I'm going to go and do off camera. um, but yeah, so I do the single leg calf raises on the machine, and then I do my pointed toe walks. I've got the toe pressy downy thing, followed by single leg calf raises again, but in the sort of standing up position, and then the pogos or the plyometric jumps, and that's literally the whole thing. And like I was saying, the amount of dexterity and strength that's developed, it's been really really cool, and it's something I've been doing every sort of 3 days since the beginning of the year. And I've got my check-in with Matt next week, so I thought it'd be really good fun to make this video and yeah, kind of document the process or the progress that I've made so far. So I hope you enjoyed watching it, and if it was useful at all, that was really really cool. If you saw anything that you thought might be useful for me, then feel free to leave a comment. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed coming along for a little bit of my Achilles rehab.